humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
How desperate must Ubisoft be to say to themselves, you know what we need? We need a bad faith, disingenuous, low IQ, putrid, subhuman, terrorist supporting piece of shit like Hasan Piker to play our game. That is astonishing. Even if I were on the ropes as a game development studio, there is no chance in hell that I would put my product anywhere near Hasan. But these people at Ubisoft were this desperate, and Hasan put out a hashtag ad, and the reactions to this in the comments are perfect, and we're going to go over some of it. People are pointing out the obvious, that Hasan is a socialist. But see, Hasan is not a socialist. That's the mistake that people make. Hasan is a capitalist, LARPing as a socialist, for his audience of retards who are actually socialist. You see, that's the way that it works. It's all a grift. It's all LARP. This guy is a bad faith slop tuber. He calls other people slop tubers. Hasan is the king slop tuber. His content is disgusting. It's diseased. It is the most brain-rotten, low information, low effort, low IQ opinions, and this guy exists in the job that he has because the people around him are so either stupid to the point of retardation, genuine retardation, or they're people like Ludwig and Moist Critical who don't really have a problem with what he says, and they see it as good for their brand because he gets people to watch his stuff. They're in it for the opportunity to grow themselves and be part of a network, and it's sort of like Hollywood. It doesn't matter what a disgusting subhuman piece of debris Hasan is. If he gets them perks and gets them stuff, then it's perfectly fine. All of these people on Twitch are more than happy to collab with Hasan, despite him being an evil, irredeemable piece of subhuman garbage. I could go over some of the tweets that Hasan has made in response to this, and I think that I will. But first I want to go through some of the responses because I think that they're very good. So here we have Kangman Lee. How much do they pay you to shill out this pathetic excuse of a game? It's a good question. So you're role-playing as a black man who kills Asians just moved to a... Is there a billion-dollar corporation you wouldn't effing take money from at this point? That's a good question, and the answer is most definitely no. Hasan would take money from just about anyone. He would take money from just about anyone. And the thing is, when Hasan is confronted on this, he'll blame everyone else. And then, if there's nothing that he can do, he said, well, I take money from these corporations and then put it towards these leftist causes that I think are important. This guy would grease any corporation. This guy would absolutely take money from any corporation. And it just goes to the hypocrisy of these people. Bernie Sanders taking money from Big Pharma. No, I didn't take money from Big Pharma. It was donations from it's like, how much was it? Oh, like millions of dollars. Well, but it's like, yeah, these people are hypocrites. They're disingenuous. They're low information, and the thing about low information is there are people that can make things simple. So you take a complex issue, you make it simple, but you keep the nature of the thing intact. Hasan takes something that is simple and dumbs it down even more, and then somehow, some way, manages to lose the essence of what the conversation was. Because this guy is so stupid that he can't even articulate basic reasoning, basic argumentation about why would some people, for example, I'll use this as an example. Why would some people be irritated at the romance options in Assassin's Creed Shadows? Why would they be irritated by that? Well, if you ask this knuckle-dragging, attention-seeking, narcissistic retard, it would be because they're homophobic, or, they just hate women. They just hate women, and, it was your choice. You chose that gay romance option. The game gives you, like, 4 romance options, and one of them is straight, except she's married, and it's Nobunaga's sister. And the thing is, here you have, and this is a retweet from Hasan. So somebody puts out a black samurai in a relationship with a non-binary person. That's an observable thing. You notice it. And Mighty Keith, who is one of the biggest cucks in the world, he is a leftist commentator when it comes to this stuff. Just an absolute embarrassment. And the thing is, and it's disappointing because some of his videos on YouTube are actually pretty good, or they used to be. But then you get to YouTube and they just expose themselves as what low information, low IQ people they are, with just the most atrocious worldviews and the most atrocious politics and positions. So he says, like, literally all the other Assassin's Creeds, there is the optional romance in the game, meaning you only get here if you choose to flirt with that person. So these retards think that this is somehow profound. Like, oh, well, you don't have to romance. Your romance options, if you want to experience that part of the game, are about, what would you say, 100% contaminated in some way? 75% more than others? The majority of the romances in this game are polluted to the point where they are going to be unpalatable for most people, and somebody points this out, and this Dunning-Kruger, doorknob-licking retard comes before you and says, wow, that was your choice to romance them. Gamers will go into a game and explore every element of it, and then they will articulate the things that they didn't like. This guy goes, well, you chose that. Yeah, they chose to see what the devs thought was good enough to make it into the game. And guess what? This made it into the game. That's fucking embarrassing. And Hasan retweets it because his perspective is all based around money. And I mean, just look at this. I mean, it's just disgusting. I oh God, I didn't know this. I mean, Bernie Sanders and AOC and freaking Hasan. I've never seen a more disgusting video in my life. That is horrific. That is horrific. And the thing is, these people have something in common. I mean, a lot of things in common. They're anti-American. They're anti-business. They're anti-common sense. They're disingenuous. They're anti-business when it comes to everything else, but when it comes to them, they're perfectly willing to take the money of corporations. It is really quite unbelievable that Ubisoft would lower and debase themselves. So here's another retweet from Hasan. It's so funny how Assassin's Creed has never been anywhere near historically accurate. So again, Hasan's entire life is based around falsehoods, misrepresentations, lies, character assassination, to pander to some of the most genuinely fucking retarded human beings on the planet. Some of the most morally disgusting and reprehensible people that cheer on terrorism. People that, not just terrorism overseas. If you don't like a Tesla, because, he said, my heart goes out to you. He did a Nazi salute. So what should we do? We should go draw swastikas on cars, you fucking freaks. You are the enemy of civilization. That is what you are. That's what you represent. It's always the way it's been. There's not going to be some great Marxist communist uprising where you losers, who have been losers your entire life, are suddenly going to be on the top of the pyramid. No, you're not. You're always going to be at the bottom because you're losers. And you're losers because you watch people like Hasan, you consume this pig slop because it makes you feel good, but it's the worst thing for you. It's the worst thing for you to listen to a terrorist-supporting, degenerate, subhuman retard. Genuinely, I would put Hasan, no word of a lie, 50 points in IQ below the deviation minimum. I don't think this guy has the mental capability to grapple with some of the argumentation that's come out against some of the stuff that he says. I think there is a bit of authenticity around Hasan in that he's genuinely too stupid to understand the arguments people are making. So he just goes, it's a personal attack. It's an ad hominem. I learned that word from Destiny. Destiny told me the word ad hominem. None of the people in his audience know what the word ad hominem actually means. None of the people in his audience understand that I can call Hasan accurately, based on what he's done, a terrorist-supporting, subhuman, degenerate retard. And also I can articulate why his arguments are wrong. At the same time, Hasan has never been right about anything. And that's not based on immutable characteristics. That's based on the fact that this guy has gone on camera and said some of the most profane shit imaginable. But more than that, this guy's a racist. This guy's a terrorist supporter. He's filmed himself being that. It's not like it's some mystery. He's done this for years. And so they choose him, of all people, to be the one to promote their game. And what does he do? How does he promote their game? By retweeting the most divisive, low IQ tweets out there that are antagonistic and are going to genuinely push people even further from the game. So congratulations. So here's Hasan's pearls of wisdom, which is basically just rabbit turds out of an ass. These people are so insanely dumb. I mean, it's like, it's so peak narcissism that an absolute donkey like Hasan could call somebody else dumb. I mean, it is remarkable to me that people have tolerated this guy in the content creator space as long as they have. Thankfully, people are becoming aware that this guy is an absolute mongoloid. But how has it taken all these years for us to come to this point? And there's nothing you can do about it. Everyone believes nonsense now. It's over. Fake shit confirms their bias. Like, fake shit that confirms their bias is more important than the truth. They'll just move on to the next fake outrage. What is he even saying here? Ubisoft has reportedly enlisted a team of lawyers to sue players who harass Assassin's Creed Shadows developers. The question of what the studio means by harassment remains unanswered. That's a good question. It's a good question. And it seems like it's sort of par for the course for a company like Ubisoft to think that they could quell this by silencing people. That makes sense. The find out portion. Tomorrow, March 19th, 9:30 a.m., Mr. Hiroyuki Kada, a member of the House of Councilors from the Liberal Democrat Party, will address the AC Shadows issue in the national diet. Is that diet? This will broadcast worldwide on TV. So Pirate Nation comes out and says, well, how it started is, they're threatening to sue you. How it ends, the Japanese government is condemning your game. Hasan comes out and goes, these people are so dumb and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing wrong with this post. Even if you disagree with it, there's nothing wrong in pointing out the absurdity of you trying to defend a game from criticism when the Japanese government themselves are coming out against this. It is a continual reminder. It is a continual reminder. Oh, and by the way, we watched the video. I did a reaction to what the actual conversation was. So every word of Hasan's statements here are a lie. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, Ubisoft has day one patched being able to desecrate shrines in Japan. So while Hasan was trying to defend this game because they paid him money and making himself look like an absolute Dunning-Kruger retard to do it, Ubisoft has already taken action because they were most likely pushed and pressured from the Japanese government. That would be my guess. It's not going to change anything, but it is definitely a reality. Now, the way that I would have handled this is I would have had a morality system in the game. And if you desecrate a shrine, that definitely increases your renegade or your demonic energy, your bad karma, whatever you want to call it, your Akuma energy, your demon energy. It builds within you if you desecrate a temple. And then if you get to full negative energy, then something happens. You may look a certain way, sort of like Mass Effect, where, it changes certain things about your personality, your attitude, your interactions, and in the end, have all those consequences build up to give you the quote-unquote bad ending. That's what you do in video games, not just allow you to desecrate a temple, unless it's a game like Zelda, which Zelda, that wouldn't make any sense. You can go in and smash people's pots, because it's a Zelda game. But for an Assassin's Creed game, there should be a morality system. All right, the only good communist is a dead communist. Pretty fair. It's a game that is insulting to Japanese culture. Don't you visit Japan a lot? Really shows you care more about sponsor money than cultural integrity, and you call yourself a socialist. Not often you see communists become a walking billboard for capitalist game companies. Even makes the old USSR racketeering look innocent by comparison. If DEI is in the game, if DEI was a game, this would be it. How many times will he mention Destiny or Asmon during the stream? I'm guessing 10 or more. Oh, 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 God. Oh, look, the commie shills for slop. Yep, yes, he does. But there are no terrorists for you to sympathize with in your game. Doesn't that break immersion for you? Well, to be fair, this main character, Yasuke, is in his way going through and, killing Japanese people in the street before you could desecrate shrines. So I'm sure Hasan could get his terrorist supporting fix. After seeing your profile picture, I get why you're shilling this. Nice. Imagine being paid to play a game. Capitalism sure is awesome, isn't it? I guess Ethan's video is hurting you financially. LMFAO, corporate shilling is peak 2025 socialism. Socialism, not even once. Shilling for Ubisoft, LMAO. Hasan, you do realize if a communist revolution were to ever happen, the revolutionaries would boil you alive in a pool of your $1 million mansion, right? That is true. That is true. Hasan would definitely not make it. Socialism is when you take money from billion-dollar corps to show for them. Is it any good? The one in Egypt was dope. If by dope you mean that you had to smoke dope in order to think it was good, then yes. When I see these now, I know the game is going to bomb. And here's the point. I understand review. God, if I can fucking speak. It's like, whenever I react to Hasan, my general intelligence lowers because this guy, he has an aura of stupidity. It's like the orb of confusion from SpongeBob. It's like, he turns it on and you go, duh. It's like, this guy is such a retard. He lowers the IQ of everyone around him. It's unbelievable. But yeah, you take a look at all of these conversations, you take a look at this entire layout, and people are just roasting him. People are just roasting him. And I gotta tell you, it warms my heart to see it. Because nobody deserves it more. And I know that there will be a few people that cope and say, well, it's just because he's left-wing and you're not left-wing. You just disagree with him, so you wanna shit on him. No. Hasan is a special breed when it comes to this, because while I don't like Destiny, I think he's awful and gross, and I think that he's bad faith, and I think that he's morally, disgusting. For his comments about the Trump supporter who was shot at the rally, his entire life, basically. It's gross. I don't think he's a particularly good debater. He's not really a debater anymore. He's sort of a spurg machine. He does these really bad faith, analyses and commentary videos that are just, I don't find them particularly compelling. But Asmongold is left wing, and I actually have a video to do on that. where I'm not going to excoriate Asmongold for it. I'm just going to point out the fact that we in the online commentary culture have allowed retards like Hasan to define things that are just observably not true. Hasan is an extremely left-wing, leftist content creator that doesn't make what he says about Asmongold true. Asmongold is not right-wing. In fact, I would say Nux Taku isn't right-wing. But a lot of these people have been labeled right-wing simply because they're to the right of Hasan. But Hasan is to the left of goddamn Chairman Mao. That doesn't make them right-wing. It just makes them left of center. And it's important to contextualize all of this with words should have meaning and they shouldn't be allowed to be redefined by freaks and retards like Hasan. Calling somebody right-wing should actually mean something. It should be true to what they actually believe. Hasan apparently doesn't know that Asmongold was anti-Trump for a long time. I mean, very much anti-Trump. He was. He would constantly make fun of him. He would downplay all the stuff he did in the first term. Like, if you watch Asmongold's content on Trump during the campaign, it was mostly negative. And he didn't vote for him. And very recently, Asmongold said that he would vote for Bernie Sanders in the future, which I think, to me, is something that I would never say even on a dare. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Asmongold recently comes out in support of single-payer healthcare. Again, one of the dumbest things a left-wing view. Like, atrociously stupid. Universal basic income. Like, a lot of this stuff that he says are left-wing ideas, and they're bad. They're bad ideas that come from the left wing. And he has a lot of them. Asmongold has some common sense ideas on topics that I don't give him a round of applause like a lot of people do, because from my point of view, it's so basic that to congratulate him, it would be to admit how far we've fallen. Like, men not being allowed to go into women's bathrooms and play women's sports. That's a big deal. Asmon has actually downplayed that at almost every opportunity. And so I'm just saying this to point out the fact that people like Hasan are... I do videos like these because Hasan deserves to be roasted. He deserves to be made fun of. Personally, I think he deserves to be deported. He's a terrorist supporter. He's an irredeemable, bad faith, degenerate, low IQ, low value retard. And this is the guy that Ubisoft thought, yeah, nah, he's good enough. I mean, it's staggering. It is staggering to me. Now, I understand why Asmongold took the review copy from Ubisoft, but to my knowledge, Asmongold didn't get asked to do an ad. I don't know the terms of his contract. I think he was just sent a review copy. I could be wrong. I don't think Asmongold put out a cringe tweet like this. But I mean, this is where we're at. This game sucks. It's bad all the way around. Even people like Moist Critical are condemning it, calling it terrible. People like Young Yeah don't like it. People like Cone don't like it. I mean, the game itself is bad. The ideology in it is bad. The fact that Mighty Keef, also known as Mighty Queef, by me just now, the fact that he defends the disgusting LGBTQ options in the game. The fact that Hasan defends it means nothing. It means nothing. These two retards on the internet glazing, well, you don't have to enjoy the non-binary, the disgusting, is it a man, is it a woman, Western game design, decision. If this were true to Japan, it would be a femboy. God, there have been so many jokes about the femboys that are passing, like in the anime. What was the character's name? Like Stolfo. People back in the day would try to get each other by like, hey, do you think this girl's cute? And if you were unfortunate enough, let's see, you may be like, yeah, that's cute. That's a guy, you're gay. My point here is that you have these really butch-looking, ugly, non-binary characters. You have gay romance options, and then the only straight option is you romancing a married woman. There is no universe where anyone will be able to convince me that that was the best idea, that was the best the game could do. It is atrociously stupid. It is atrociously stupid. I'll give you an example of something that you could have done that's been done in other media that really wouldn't trample on anyone's feet, wouldn't be historically inaccurate in terms of, this sort of stuff I bet would happen at the time. But do you remember an anime, this is years and years ago, called Samurai Champloo? There's a subplot in one of the episodes where Jean, one of the main characters, kind of falls in love with a courtesan. She's a prostitute, basically, in the red light district, and he wants to save her. And it's not exactly a heartwarming conclusion, but it was very, very well done, very, very interesting, very well written, definitely pulled on your heartstrings. The fact that you don't even try to do anything other than pander to the lowest common denominator of games journalists that are ever dying and ever dwindling, and retards like Mighty Keith and Hasan. Well, these people may not have any standards, principles, morals, may not have a soul. The rest of us do, and we find it disgusting and we don't want any part of it. And that's why your game is getting destroyed. You have abandoned the most important parts of your game, and then you have hyper-focused on the most inappropriate and deeply troubling parts of your game, which is there should never be a gay romance option in a game like this. Simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for supporting the channel. I had to get this off my chest, and I think that it's important to do so. Never going to be a fan of Hasan. I think he's one of the worst. I think he's bad faith. I think he's an agitator. I think he's an activist. And he's done a lot of harm to a lot of people with his rhetoric, with his insane push towards ramping people up with more and more casualization of violence. I think he's an absolute monster, and I think that more people should call him out. And I got to do that and talk about how terrible Assassin's Creed Shadows is. So, it's a win-win. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.